Okay. Hi guys, my name's Khaled. Hello Khaled. This is our team. We're called 27 going on 30 in reference to my age. Currently I'm 27 and about to turn 30. This is Cole, this is Josh, this is Ethan. They're going to take us through some of the topics in Lofting. Now Lofting can be a little bit confusing for somebody who's never heard of it before, but if you're stuck and you want us to repeat something, please let us know. It's a bit interactive. We do have some workshops for you to do and some waivers to sign. So if you hate yourselves, none of our business. And we've also got a little bit of a lofting that we've done earlier in the year that you can step up after the presentation and have a look at, and you can ask us some questions about it too. So what we're going to take you through today in lofting is it this way?
Very slow.
It's very slow? Okay. So we're going to take you through the definition of lofting. We're going to take you a brief bit of the origins of it, the process, and some of the techniques used in lofting. Now I'm going to hand you over to Ethan to talk about the definition of lofting.
Are you going to stand? Yeah. Okay. Lofting is drafting technique whereby curved lines are generated to be used in plans in streamlined object. So the lofting is full-size plan. It's a one-to-one scale construction drawing of a boat and its parts. And we have three views on lofting, and the three views are body plan and half-breadth view and profile view. And body plan is a view of the boat from both dead to head and dead Aston split in half, and half-breadth view is looking down on the boat from the top. And profile view is a view of the boat from the side. Can you understand it? Oh really? And to help you understanding, I drew some drawing here. So can you see this boat? I drew a 3D block to help understanding. So if you see this boat from side, the right side, we call the starboard side, and it's called profile view. So profile views look like this. And next, if we see the boat from the top, you can see the shape like this, and we call this half-breadth view. And next, if you see this boat from the front, you can see this shape. It's body plan. Is it easier than that text? And next, we have many lines for draw the both shapes. So I'm going to explain the lines. And at first we have water line. Water line is horizontal line from the water surface and with the boat floats. So water line is look like this. So if we draw this line on three views, you can see the curved line on half-breadth view, the water line, and on the other views, you can see the straight line. Because this line is straight from side and front view and curved on top. And next, we have bottom line. Bottom line is vertical line which is parallel with the center line. Center line is this line. Divide the boat from center, from forward to up. So bottom line is on here. So if we draw the bottom line on three views, you can see the curved line on profile view and straight lines on body plan and half-breadth view. And we have station line. Station line is very important in lofting. My friend will explain about that. And tension line is vertical line which is perpendicular to the center line. So if we draw this on three views, you can see this body shape on body plane and this straight lines of profile view and half breadth view. And usually we draw one more line to bear the whole line additionally. So we call that diagonal line. Diagonal line is the imaginary line on diagonal planes used for bearing the whole additionally. So we draw that separately from three views to avoid being confused with the other lines. So diagonal is look like this.
6 minutes.
And we have another line, center line, ghost line, depth line, shear line, time line, color body, and this line also helps us to draw the good shape. And I'll pass this mouse to Charles.
Alright, back to me. Alright, really quick touch up on the origins. Look, there's not a lot of info available for the origins of it, but I have found it's known as the black art of the loftsman. It can be really, really confusing. Now, from my research, kind of the oldest boat is about 7,000 years old. It was found in Kuwait, and I can imagine they would have had to loft something like that to get an idea in their head. But it's probably been drawn on bark of tree and it's probably been decayed by now, but I'm not going to rewrite history. In modern day times though, lofting is used far less and less because there is computer-aided software. Very commonly used is AutoCAD. It's a lot quicker and sometimes it can be a little bit more accurate. We'll move on to process.
Cool.
This is Colin.
G'day. So this is a table of offsets. This is what you use to find out the distance from a point, and this is what gets you your curve. So this top row along here is your station. So you start with your 4 perpendicular 0, 1, 2, 0, and then for the profile you measure off the low water line, and then for the half breadth you measure off the centre line. So as an example, if you wanted to find out the shear line distance down from FB, it's 406 mils, and then you can just do that all the way along until you get each point, and then you put a thing across and then you mark it along. So,
Right.
no, not that. Cool. So these are most of the tools that you use in your lofting. So you got your hammer for striking in nails and pins, your square, which is this here. So this is used for double checking perpendicular lines or straight lines. You got your Dremel for marking distances. What you do is you place your pencil through one of these holes and you put the brick of the nail on the point, and then you can either draw circles or you can mark a distance along. You quite often use that when you're double checking. You got your straight edge, which is can be one of these. The straight edge, or we do have big long aluminium ones up in the loft. I didn't bring one of them in. They're huge. We have the battens, which is this is actually a batten here, but this one's been snapped off. They're usually quite a bit longer. And you can actually do an entire line on the boat using one batten. Do this up on the wall, and you put the pins into the lofting, and then you bend the batten around the pins, which you get those points off the table of offsets, and then you arc along. You got your masking tape, which is just to hold down the loftings, and if you want to put like a little extension off the side, if you're working out something, or you need a little bit more distance and didn't want to cut out a new bit of cardboard, you can just whack down a few layers of masking tape. Splines is here, and these are for shapes that are too difficult to do with battens. as this one's quite a bit curvier compared to like this one, which you can see it's not that well. Pencils and erasers, obviously just for drawing, and then you make a mistake and erase it. We rule for this, so that's for marking down off the points. And then your tick stick. I don't actually have a tick stick with me, but it's a piece of card. You use it to transfer data off the profile and the half breadth, and you can use that to find intersections, or you can use it to transfer onto the body plan. Cool. And just the processes. There's no specific way to complete a lofting because there's no written rules about it, but usually you'd start with the easiest and cleanest lines that have points along most of the stations, so that when you want to go onto a more complicated line, you need to find an intersection to double check. You can go back to the lines you've already drawn and then use your tick sticks to find the intersections. And once you've completed both half breadth and profile views, you can transfer that data onto your body plan. And once that's all completed, you finish your lofting, but then you can always continue on and do some calculations on it and like continue further. To me.
So I'm just going to run you through a bit of a picture slide of what we went through when we did our lofting project, and basically top off what Dave just told you in image form. So pretty much we started off with a bit of brainstorming and looking at what we know about lofting and what we found out, like what sort of lines there are and all that. So to start off with lofting, you need to start with the grid lines, and they're the most important lines because they are what you measure off and do all your lines to. They're done off the table of offsets, which Cole has just shown you, but there's another picture as well, which we pretty much use all the main ones. This is, although it may seem very simple, it's actually a way to use a pencil in a way that it doesn't blunt it so quickly. So when you just run the pencil along the timber, you can spin it so it doesn't always use one point of the pencil. This is just a method of checking for parallel lines and perpendicular lines. So you use the 3-4-5 rule, which is go a third this way, or 3 this way, 4 down and 5 across. This is a process that we used. We started with the lines with the least this is what Cole was talking about before, how we bend the bends around the nails. This is a little diagram, but obviously on a lot larger scale. This is Cole setting up and completing the transom line, which is at a 15-degree angle, and there's different various methods you can use to get that line, but it may take a long time to explain.
Is there another way of using the trimmer to find an angle?
And that's just a relationship between the transom. And this is how we draw the transom on the profile view. Half breadth.
I'm not doing it.
Okay, it's just more pictures of how we create the lines with battens and pins. This is a bit of a visual way to see for us how, because we did a chine boat, which is where the hull changes at an angle. So this is the chine line. Okay. It's just more imagery of how we get the complicated water lines and the stem. Again, this is just more kind of details that can go through and put into a lofting to make
15 minutes.
What we might do is kick into our little exercise, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Do we have time for a little exercise? Can we have the light on? So as you can see, it's quite a complicated and very, very lengthy process. We could go on for hours and hours, but I wouldn't mind if some of you guys experience what lofting is. So you can imagine this as one of those large pieces of paper. Who else would like to do one? Alright. There you go. So what we have is a small table of offsets at the bottom. We also have a waiver that you need to sign just in case you hammer through your finger. We don't want that. So I can help you with this one. Okay. Otherwise known as a JSA sheet.
This is on a much larger scale. Sorry, this is a table of offsets. So this, station. Is station 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming off the numbers.
So pretty much we'll come up with a little exercise which is what we've had to do on a large scale, but we've given you a small table of offsets and grid lines.
Oh, okay.
We just had to measure the lines just to show.
There you go. So basically, we're measuring
station 3.
Pretty much we've got these are the station lines.
These are the station lines. We measured down 57 mils from station 1. Yep, that's the station. We probably should have marked that. Yep.
Station 0,
so
it's at 0.
you want to do that?
Yeah.
The batteries just go out.
From 1 we go down to 7.
I have to stop the camera now, guys, okay?